I'm Adrian Seet, and this is Nightline, the top stories. Fukushima water discharge, government to monitor food imported from Japan. And Russia's mercenary group leader, Prigozhin, killed in a plane crash. Thanks for joining us. The Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry KPDN will monitor food products imported from Japan after the country released treated radioactive water from the wrecked Fukushima nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean on Thursday. Its acting minister, Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali, said the ministry was aware of the situation and have taken into account the advice issued previously by the Health Ministry on the matter and will ensure that all food resources imported from other countries, including Japan, are safe.
We are monitoring closely, bukan isu seafood saja, tapi perkara-perkara lain juga. Kita akan teliti dan dengan dekat dan akan mengambil sebarang tindakan yang perlu untuk memastikan wujudnya kestabilan bekalan dan harga dalam negara.
Dato' Armizan told this to the media after a briefing session with the media on the ministry's opteris in Putrajaya on Thursday. On Wednesday, Health Director General Dr. Muhammad Radzi Abu Hassan had said that a Level 4 alert will be put in place at all entry points for food products brought into the country from Japan which were deemed high risk. These would be analysed for possible radioactive content. Meanwhile, the Department of Atomic Energy Malaysia, Atom Malaysia, is monitoring for any increase in seawater radioactivity levels amid concerns over the release of treated wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear plant. Its Deputy Director General Ibrahim Muhammad, in a statement to TV3, said that the department has installed Gamma Spectrum Water Monitoring Station, GSWMS, to monitor any increase in radioactivity levels in the country's waters in real time as an early warning detection. Based on data from the National Nuclear Response Management Centre, NCNRM, at Atom Malaysia headquarters in Dengkil, Selangor, no abnormal readings have been detected so far. He added that Atom Malaysia has also taken a similar stance as the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, that the release of the treated wastewater into the sea has a negligible radiological impact to people and the environment. In the meantime, Japan on Thursday started releasing treated radioactive water from the wrecked Fukushima nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean, a polarizing move that drew fresh and fierce criticisms from China as being selfish and irresponsible. According to plant operator Tokyo Electric Power, TEPCO, the release began at 1:03 p.m. local time, and it had not identified any abnormalities with the seawater pump or surrounding facilities. Approved 2 years ago by the Japanese government and green-lighted by the United Nations nuclear watchdog last month, the discharge is a key step in a dauntingly long and difficult process of decommissioning the Fukushima Daiichi plant, including the removal of molten fuel. However, China, ahead of the release, expressed its anger, calling the Japanese government extremely selfish and irresponsible in forcibly launching the discharge, putting its own selfish interests above the well-being of all mankind. China's customs authority said it would suspend the import of aquatic products originating in Japan from Thursday, including edible aquatic animals. Tokyo has maintained that the water release is safe, noting that the International Atomic Energy Agency has also concluded that the impact it would have on people and the environment was negligible. The government is always finding ways to ensure that the price of goods remains stable to address the rising cost of living. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim gave his assurance that the government would apply the best method to ease the people's struggles so that they would not be overly burdened by any increase in the price of goods.
Tentu kena ada rancangan masa depan. Maknanya pengeluaran lebih banyak. Saya telah arah semua syarikat-syarikat besar kerajaan macam Samdabi, Gatri, Felda. Dia kena fikir dah bab ni. Kerana kita import barang makanan terlalu banyak. Malaysia ni tanah subur, tapi kita import semua barang makanan.
Dato Sri Anwar, who is also the finance minister, said this in his speech at the launch of Rahmah Mega Sales at Tambun in Ipoh, Perak. He said every country in the world is also facing the same issues, and the government would do its best to find the best solutions. The Prime Minister said it was not an easy matter, but the government, according to him, will find ways to resolve it. Also present at the function were Acting Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Dato Armizan Muhammad Ali and Perak Menteri Besar Dato Sri Saarani Muhammad. The government hopes to provide additional allocation for the repair and maintenance of housing for the police force. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said he hoped to secure the additional allocation and announce it during the tabling of the 2024 budget in October.
Bukan untuk mengindahkan, untuk buat baik pulih yang basic. Adakah cukup? Tak cukup. Saya tak fikir 2-30 juta ringgit untuk PJA di Hulu Kinta ni cukup. Kalau untuk kemas. Tapi itulah permulaan untuk tahun ini. Daripada tidak ada langsung dulu, ini kita adakan. Dan insyaAllah, ya, belanjawan madani bulan Oktober, saya akan cuba ikhtiar. Dapatkan peruntukan tambahan untuk perumahan PDRM.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the luncheon with the General Operations Force in Hulu Kinta, Tambun. In July, Dato Sri Anwar announced a 150 million ringgit allocation for the police force to, amongst other things, refurbish all police quarters and stations and ensure the well-being of police personnel so that they would be able to work in a conducive and comfortable environment. The progressive wage system policy has been approved at the cabinet level, and the details will be tabled during the upcoming 2024 budget in October. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said the system is expected to be implemented in April or May next year, and hence the reason why the policy has to be included in the budget tabling.
The Prime Minister gave an indication of some numbers. We'll go through the budget process. So most probably there will be an indication in 2024's budget due to be announced in October. But the implementation targets for the first rollout sometime in April or May. So that means that the financial allocation has to be made for 2024.
The minister spoke to the media after the signing ceremony of the Executive Digital Leadership Programme in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. He added that the government will put more focus on the development of states during the budget in an effort to bridge the economic development gap between states in Malaysia. The 2024 budget has been scheduled for tabling in Parliament on October the 13th.
This week on Money Matters, Malaysia emerges stronger after the pandemic. Valuable lessons to build resilience and manage future crises. Prioritizing equitable recovery, leveraging technological advancements, and strengthening social safety nets. Join us with World Bank Country Manager for Malaysia, Yasuhiko Matsuda. This Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and the live HD stream on Tonton.
The 2023 Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM examination is scheduled to take place from December the 5th this year until March 7th, 2024. The Education Ministry MOE, in a post on its social media page on Thursday, said the 2023 SPM examination timetable has taken into account all aspects, including the number of school days as well as federal and state public holidays. The ministry added the science practical tests will be held from December the 5th to the 7th, followed by the Bahasa Melayu oral test from January the 8th to the 11th, while the English language oral tests from January 17th to the 23rd. It also said that the listening tests for both Bahasa Melayu and English language will be held on January 29th. As for the written tests, they are scheduled for January 30th to March the 7th. The public can also visit the Malaysian Examination Syndicate's website for more information and to download the 2023 SPM timetable. The Election Commission EC has fixed October the 7th as polling day for the Pelangai State Seat by-election in Pahang. Its chairman, Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh, also announced that the nomination of candidates and early voting for the by-election have been fixed for September the 23rd and October 3rd, respectively. According to Tan Sri Abdul Ghani, campaigning for the by-election will run for 14 days.
PRK Dewan Negeri N36 Pelangai Pahang memerlukan peruntukan sebanyak lebih kurang RM2.1 juta.
He said this at a media conference after chairing a special meeting on the by-election at Menara SPR in Putrajaya on Thursday. Pelangai, which is one of the 4 seats under the Bentong Parliamentary Constituency, has 16,456 eligible registered voters. The seat became vacant after its assemblyman Datuk Sri Johari Harun, who is also the State Local Government Housing Environment and Green Technology Committee chairman, was killed in the Elmina plane crash on August 17th. In a related matter, the Royal Malaysian Police PDRM has warned supporters of all political parties contesting in the upcoming Pulai Parliamentary and Simpang Jeram state by-elections to not play up sensitive issues, especially relating to race, religion, royalty or 3R. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein, who issued the reminder on Thursday, said this is to prevent creating disharmony amongst Malaysians throughout their campaigning period.
InsyaAllah. So persiapan kita pun, saya pun mengingatkan supaya tak ada lagi isu-isu sensitif, isu-isu 3R ini dimainkanlah. Kita harap begitulah. Dan kita pun tak mau memuka kertas siasatan atas isu-isu yang begini.
Tan Sri Razaruddin said this to the media after the Malacca State Awards investiture, in conjunction with the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri's 74th official birthday. The by-elections were being held after the Pulai Parliamentary and Simpang Jeram state seats fell vacant following the death of incumbent Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub on July 23rd. The EC has set nominations for August 26 and early voting on September the 5th, while polling day has been fixed for September the 9th. Datuk Sri Aminuddin Harun on Thursday described the new lineup of the 10 State Executive Council members as the best composition representing the unity government coalition parties. The Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar said the appointment of the EXCO members, including 6 new faces, was mutually agreed upon following discussions between Pakatan Harapan and Barisan Nasional from the grassroots to the party's leadership levels.
Lihat bahawa line up ini adalah merupakan satu line up yang baik, di mana ada orang lama, orang baru dan ada juga daripada kerajaan terdahulu. Jadi ini menunjukkan kepada kita bahawa kerajaan perpaduan saya yakin mampu melakukan yang terbaik, dan inilah antara usaha kita bagi memastikan bahawa kejayaan kita dalam memastikan kelangsungan agenda ataupun aspirasi perpaduan yang telah kita rancang.
Datuk Sri Aminuddin said this to reporters after the new EXCO swearing-in ceremony at Istana Besar Sri Menanti in Kuala Pilah. The swearing-in ceremony and presentation of appointment letters began at 10:15 a.m. before Negeri Sembilan Yang di-Pertuan Besar Tuanku Mukhris Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir. The new faces comprise State UMNO Chief Datuk Sri Jalaluddin Alias, was also made a senior member of the administration, Nur Zunita Begum Muhammad Ibrahim, Datuk Ismail Lasim, Mustafa Nagur, Datuk Muhammad Faisal Ramli and Tengku Zamrah Tengku Sulaiman. When Nightline returns, bar shooting leaves 4 dead. Nightline continues. The head of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who in June attempted to topple Russia's military leadership, was on board a plane that crashed on Wednesday with all 10 passengers killed. According to Russian officials, the aircraft, which was traveling from Moscow to St. Petersburg, made a sudden downward vertical at 3:19 p.m. local time, and within 30 seconds, it had plummeted more than 8,000 feet from its cruising altitude of 28,000 feet. It was reported that all 10 people on board died, including 3 crew members, Prigozhin and his right-hand man Dmitry Utkin, who helped found the mercenary group. The cause of the crash was not immediately clear, but some unnamed sources said they believe that the plane had been shot down by one or more surface-to-air missiles. Some of Prigozhin's supporters believe that the Wagner's chief's long-standing feud with the military and the armed uprising he led in June would give the Russian state ample motive for revenge. US President Joe Biden also strongly suggested Moscow's involvement in the apparent death of Prigozhin in the crash. Biden said he was not surprised by the plane crash that appeared to kill Prigozhin, as he believed that Russian President Vladimir Putin was behind it. Meanwhile, Putin has still not commented on the crash as he addressed an international summit on Thursday via a video link. Turkey's central bank on Thursday delivered a huge surprise by raising the interest rate to 25% as part of a transition from President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's era of unorthodox economics. The hike of 7.5 percentage points follows a raise to 17.5% from 15% last month. Most economists had expected the bank to increase its policy rate on Thursday to 20%. The lira gained 1.5% against the US dollar in the wake of the bank's strong signal that it was stepping up its fight against inflation and attempts to support the troubled currency. Erdogan infused his government with market-friendly faces after winning a difficult May election that came in the heat of one of Turkey's most dire economic crises in decades. They immediately set off on a new battle against inflation that peaked at an annual rate of 85% last October and is on the rise once again. Former US President Donald Trump was expected to surrender on Thursday to authorities in Georgia on charges that he schemed to overturn the 2020 election in that state. It will be the fourth such surrender since April for Trump, who has been indicted in 3 criminal cases this year, but remains the front-runner in the Republican Party's 2024 presidential nomination race. While some aspects of the legal proceedings in Georgia will be familiar, others are set to be new, because this is the first criminal case Trump has faced under the state's jurisdiction. Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt has stressed that he plans to treat Trump the same way he treats other suspects booked at the Fulton County Jail, indicating that Trump will likely be fingerprinted and have his mugshot taken after he turns himself in. It will be the first time the former president has had his mugshot taken in any of the 4 criminal cases against him. Also in the US, 4 people were killed and at least 6 people hospitalized on Wednesday after a retired law enforcement officer opened fire at a historic biker bar in California. The shooting occurred at about 7 p.m. local time at Cook's Corner, a bar in Trabuco Canyon within the rural community in eastern Orange County. The gunman was amongst the 4 who died, and the injured were taken to Providence Mission Hospital in Mission Viejo. 2 of the patients were in critical condition, while the remaining 4 were in stable condition. It is thought that the incident may have started as a domestic incident between the gunman and his wife. However, investigations are still ongoing, with at least 1 weapon recovered from the scene. Buletin smash into world champion. The 2023 BWF World Championships. National top men's doubles Aaron Chia, So Wee Yik kept their title defense bid alive after defeating Li Yang Wang Qilin of Taiwan to check into the quarterfinals. The duo prevailed 21-16, 21-18 against the reigning Olympic champions in 42 minutes. The world number 4 will continue their pursuit by going up against China's Liu Yu Chen, Ao Suan Yi next. And earlier, world number 11 Buletin scored a major upset by ousting two-time champions Mayu Matsumoto Wakana Nagahara of Japan to reach the quarterfinals. Buletin were on top of their game as they outplayed the world number 4 Japanese pair 21-14, 22-20 in the third round match that lasted 47 minutes. The duo will next meet Chinese pair Zhang Shuxian, Jing Yu, who beat Holland's Kirsten de Wit, Alyssa Tirto Centono in the last 8. With their victory, they are also the first Malaysian pair to reach quarterfinals since Emilia Anscelli, Sung Fei Chu in 2015. National mixed pair Chen Tang Ji, To Yi Wei added more joy for the Malaysian camp when they qualified for the quarterfinals. Debutants Tang Ji, Yi Wei came from behind to upstage 7 seeds. Tom Jiquel, Delphine Delroux of France, 20-22, 21-19, 21-12 in a pulsating 74-minute battle. The national duo will wait the winners between Japan's Yuta Watanabe, Arisa Higashino, and Rehan Nufal Kushanjanto, Lisa Ayu Kusmawati of Indonesia. More after the break, labourer charged for taxi driver's murder. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. In Terengganu, a labourer was charged at the Kuala Terengganu Magistrates Court with the murder of a taxi driver near the Seberang Takir Health Clinic in Kuala Nerus earlier this month. The accused, 29-year-old Muhammad Hanif Muhammad Rosli, nodded in understanding when the charge was read out to him, and no plea was recorded as the case falls under the jurisdiction of the High Court. Now, the accused was charged with murdering 51-year-old Muhammad Latif Idris on August the 10th under the Penal Code for murder. Magistrate Nik Muhammad Tarmizi Nik Muhammad Shukri fixed September 27th for mention. Previously, it was reported that a man was found dead in his taxi with several bodily injuries, while the suspect was found sitting in the driver's seat with a knife on the floor mat under the driver's seat. In Kuala Lumpur, a 45-year-old man suffered 10% burns on both his hands after a fire broke out at two factories in Kepong on Thursday. City Fire and Rescue Department Deputy Director Rohizan Anwar Mamat said the blaze also completely razed a motorcycle spare parts factory, while a paper processing factory was partially damaged. He added that the department was alerted to the fire at about 10:13 a.m. and deployed 50 firefighters together with 8 fire engines to the scene. Now, rescuers managed to prevent the flames from spreading to adjacent buildings, and the fire was brought under control 2 hours later. The victim, who is the director of the paper processing factory, was taken to the Selayang Hospital for treatment. The cause of the fire and the amount of losses are still under investigation. And before we sign off, meet 60-year-old Chia Yao Sing, a former accountant who is determined to share his love for ceramics with fellow Malaysians and the rest of the world. FMT Lifestyle's Sandra John has the story.
A Touch of Clay is a pottery studio come workshop. The shelves here are adorned with an array of beautiful clay figurines, bowls, teapots, and animal-shaped trinkets. Many of these were crafted by owner Chia Yao Sing himself and his former students, with the oldest pieces dating back to the 80s. A ceramic artist, Chia has been working with clay since the 70s, exhibiting his work all around Asia. Chia says his interest in pottery began in school when he was told to create a face mask out of clay. He enjoyed the experience so much, he wanted to seriously pursue his newfound love. And after a few years as an accountant, he gave it up to teach pottery instead. In 2000, he made the big decision to open his own studio in Segambut, Kuala Lumpur. Chia says he likes his pottery to speak for him, without him having to write or draw the meaning out for anyone.
So a lot of people ask me, what you make and all these things. I look at the work, then my work will talk to you. And sometimes from my work, you can have your additional thinking. You can bring more things out from my work. Interpret in a different way because your experience in life and my experience in life may be different.
At the potter's wheel, the 66-year-old demonstrates how to shape wet clay into beautiful vases and bowls using gentle but firm movements. Next comes the process of firing the pottery in a kiln. This can take days, depending on the temperature used and the size of the pottery. Chia says it is his hope that the education system would someday place equal emphasis on art as it does on science.
Because art is something that you have to make them more creative rather than study in school. Everything is 1 + 1 is 2. In art, it's different. It can be anything. There's no right or wrong in art.
As for the future, the ceramic artist says he hopes his daughter Thea will someday take over his business. Sandra John, FMT Lifestyle.
As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at the International Computer Games Fair, Gamescom, that opened its doors to industry visitors in Cologne, where some 1,200 exhibitors from 62 countries and the public will have a chance to test out the latest innovation in artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and gamification. With that, I'm Adrian Seet. Thank you for watching and have a good day ahead.